What's up, everybody? It's Sam from the Vanguard Zone, and today we're doing a deck profile on one of my favorite decks, and that is, of course, Magnolia. Now, Magnolia in Set 2 got some interesting tools in Set 2 that enhances the deck a bit. Magnolia's place in the meta is in the same spot. If you're up against decks like Bastion or Bruce, decks that are trying to set up and execute their game plan, Magnolia is going to do well against them. If you're up against decks that have a lot of removal, Magnolia is going to struggle. Unfortunately, its worst matchup, Snow, got a whole lot better. But this deck is still a lot of fun, and we're going to go over some of the new cards that make this deck a lot of fun. We'll start with the ride line, of course. We're playing Magnolia ride line. So you could play Charis and Lattice in place of Rancor Chain and Black Tears Husk Dragon. However, you don't get a whole lot of control over like calling the top card, and if you call a trigger, it's devastating. If you call a grade 3 on Charis's call, you soul charge it. And we do run more than our Magnolia grade 3s, so I don't like the ride line. I would rather play Rancor Chain, because Rancor Chain here on Vanguard Circle, you could Soul Blast 1 to draw 2 and discard an order card. And then it gets +2 if you play an order this turn, which that's not as significant as just being able to draw 2 cards. Gives us more pieces to use and helps get our aggression going early. And then our grade 2, the order we discard, we can get it back on place. And then it gets +5k if you play an order. Which, you know, that's pretty nice. You're basically getting a free card. We do run orders being one of the most important pieces of our deck. And then, of course, Magnolia, our main grade 3, our main Vanguard. At the end of the battle it attacks, you can counterblast 1 and choose a card and give it the ability to attack from the back row, as well as +5,000. And if you Persona Ride, choose 3 units instead of 1. So that's our deck. We're trying to set up a really good field and gain value from our graveyard. And attack 6 times, hopefully. If our opponent gets lucky and gets defensive triggers, well, we're still kind of fucked. On to the main deck, we're running 3 Magnolias because it's Persona Ride, and we want to try and Persona Ride every turn to enable as many attacks as possible. We're running 3 new cards, Sylvanhorn Beast Elronte. Elronte says, when this unit attacks, if there are 2 or more units in front of your Vanguard, it gets +5k until the end of that battle. And if there are 3 or more, you get to soul charge 1. This card's really important because it's a really good attacker. You select it with Magnolia and put it behind Magnolia, and it's guaranteed 2 units and becomes a 23k attacker, which is a lot better than some of the attackers we were running in Set 1. Also, being able to soul charge is also important. It allows us to play the next 2 units I'm going to be talking about. So Elronte, really good card and a really good addition to the deck. One of these units is our triple rare from the set, Sylvanhorn Beast Dominaru. And it says, on place, on rear guard, if you have Magnolia as your Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 1, choose a unit, it gets +5k, can attack from the back row. And then when it's selected by Magnolia's effect, it gets +5k in the back row. So just another solid attacker. It's 20k, but on turns where we miss Persona Ride, which does happen in the deck, it's just the nature of card games, this kind of says, okay, well, we didn't Persona Ride, but we can still get 5 attacks, and that's still pretty good. We're also running 3 Sylvanhorn Beast Lattice. It's our grade 2 ride line, the original Magnolia grade 2 ride line card, so we're not worried about the first effect. In the back row, when it attacks a Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 1 and it gets +10k. Because we have ways to soul charge in the deck, it enables us to use this effect more liberally. So it's pretty good. We're still running 2 Sylvanhorn Beast Geonoslas. On the back row, when it attacks, counterblast 1 and passes power to another unit. This is just a good finisher to have. Helps us get over a trigger. If our opponent checks one and they're lucky, damn defensive triggers. So Geonosa, still good. We're only running 2 because we don't have a countercharger that is useful in Magnolia yet, and we want to save our counterblast for Magnolia itself, and also Wild Intelligence, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. We're running 4 of the Maiden of Deep Impression, Ursula. She says when you would move or swap units, you can swap them between rows. And then the unit in front of her cannot be chosen by opponent's effects. So, we talk about the elephant. We can move that around when she's on the field. So, if our opponent is trying to deny the soul charge, she allows us to move it. So, we don't have to worry so much about placing a unit and being committed to that spot. We can move it freely with her. The extra protection is useful in some matchups, but against Snow, not as useful. Eugene, they can just retire this and then retire something else. So anything with mass retire, it's going to be annoying to deal with still. We're running Sylvanhorn to Beast Kusi. We're running 3 of them. This is a festival collection card. It's a 15k grade 1 that can only be called behind the back row center rearguard circle. But with Ursula, we can call it and then move it. So we have 15k attackers, 15k boosters on anything, so a pretty nice card when combined with Ursula. We're running 4 Perfect Guards. Perfect Guards are really good. These are the ones from set 1, so if we run low, we can discard this for free and nullify an attack. Definitely worth 4 slots. And then, let's talk about the card I mentioned before. Wild Intelligence. We run 4 of them. Counterblast 1. You reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, put it in your graveyard, and call 1 to rearguard circle. However, if your Vanguard's Magnolia, you call 2 instead of 1. So, it doesn't matter if the cards you call are from the top of the deck or if they were in your graveyard already. This card just allows us to get 2 rearguards back from the graveyard. So, we discard cards to our ride line. We can discard creatures, get them back later. If we're low on a board, we can use this to try and create more value without having to waste cards from our hand. This card is just insane. With Rancor Chain and Black Tears Husk, we can discard it to our ride line, get it back, and get 2 free cards, which is really nice. So, Wild Intelligence, the MVP of this deck. Moving on to the triggers. We're running the Stoicheia over trigger. We run it because we want the extra value. You could run the Cray Elemental trigger and then do the Geonosa effect where you have the where you can pass the power and have like 3 to 4 different attacks. If you have 2 Geonosas and Counterblast, that's a little unrealistic. This card's just so much value though. You get to draw a card, you can heal, plus 10k to the front, and a crit. It's just every trigger in one. If there were a countercharger and more Geonosas, I would probably run the Cray Elemental one. But since I'm only running 2, I would rather have the value from the SP, from my SP over trigger. You know, just gotta flex a little bit. And then for the rest of the triggers, we're running 7 crits. Because of Wild Intelligence, we don't need to run as many draw triggers. So we want the extra crit pressure. I don't believe in fronts in the deck because we're dealing with every rearguard slot wanting power and not just the front row. We do run 4 draws. We still want to draw on the deck. So we are running 4 draw triggers just to try and get to our pieces. And then finally, 4 heal triggers. Because healing's great. So that is my Magnolia deck profile. It's a great aggro graveyard deck. It does. If you have a meta with full of Bastions, full of Bruces, and no Snows, consider picking up this deck and get some wins on your opponent before they can even get set up. Downside, I still feel like this deck needs to high roll to do well sometimes. It folds to defensive triggers, which is still kind of unfortunate. We do get some better units who hit harder, but still not enough to deal with defensive triggers. So that's the video. If you like this video, Please leave a like, comment what you would change about the deck profile. I like hearing different ideas. That's how we get this deck and this community to grow. And of course, if you like this, please hit that subscribe button. My name is Sam from the Vanguard Zone. We'll see you next time. Bye.